Welcome back.
Thanks, Caleb.
All right, we got Bill Hench in the hot seat today, continuing our How I Grew series.
Alexa off. Sorry.
Oh, damn, Alexa. Part of the How I Grew series is simply just because I think there's so much value in hearing from various agents and their stories. Because although many practices are the same, you're going to hear variations and how they tweak things to work for them in their life. So if you don't have a 10-5-1-1, definitely grab one. Would love to hear some ahas at the end of something that you heard from Bill today that you're going to implement into your own businesses. So we'll get started. Just roll with a real basic question, Bill. Why did you get into real estate?
The reason I got into real estate was I was a photographer for 30-some years. And we started to see things start to slip away, and we weren't making enough money to pay bills and our employees. So we're tapping into the line of credit thinking things are gonna come back. And they didn't come back. And then I realized it wasn't the economy, but it was the industry itself had changed. So at that point, it's like, oh crap, we gotta figure out what to do now. I had been flipping houses with my brother because photography is, you make most of your money in about 6 months. So winter time, there's nothing going on. So I'd flip houses with him, and he suggested, why don't you get into real estate? He said, if the Nylingers can do it, you can do it. And I said that.
So true.
We'll bleep that out of the recording.
Oh, shoot.
Yeah, leave it in for Mike Nylinger, please. So,
I'll text it to him.
oh, yeah. Oh, yeah. I already said it to one of them. So it was kind of like you had to get to a point of desperation before you knew it was time to change. And so it was at that desperate point, it's like, all right, I gotta do something different.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, I love that. They say the definition of insanity is doing the same thing over and over again and expecting a different result. So you pivoted. How did you get started?
Well, I did what everybody else did. I just, started taking I started with the classes online. And then I got depressed because I like to be around people and I'm energized by people. So paid for both of them and then got depressed. So I went to class and had a great time and because I was around people again. And then I had photographed the Hooker Connecting gang for a long time. So I knew most of them and I didn't know how it worked. It was just like, hey, I'm coming to work for you guys. And I didn't know that you had a choice or, I didn't know how it
Or
worked.
that they had
Did they
a choice?
interview you?
Well, the funny thing is, the interview was, and I told Dave this the other day. He said, well, come on, Hench. So we jump in his truck and we go out to their neighborhood that they were developing and we go into the barn and we load up the four-wheeler of his truck and we took it and delivered it somewhere. And I don't even think we talked about real estate. That was it. And we didn't have an interview. Nothing. So.
Why haven't we known about these great photography skills? I feel like we out of the office, like.
I released that. I didn't photograph, I didn't photograph my own houses.
You don't?
No.
So you let it all.
You let it
It's
to the
gone.
production.
It's gone.
Was it a career or was it something you enjoyed doing?
It was a career, yeah, so it was work,
Okay, yeah, that's why.
yeah, exactly.
I enjoy photography, that's why we got
Okay, yeah,
That's a
and-
great question.
yeah, cause I don't enjoy it anymore. I don't even photograph my grandkids, I feel guilty about it. Somebody else can do it.
I'm sure your wife will, she can send it to you.
That's right, my kids, everybody else does, so, yeah, they don't get it, they don't get it.
So let's fast forward to where you are today. What do you credit your success to?
If you know me, you'll know I'll say from the start, Jesus. Yeah, I said to somebody, I should hold up my sign, everything's revolves around Jesus, but I'll come back to him. Early on, when I was Hooker Connecting, they offered us like 400, I don't remember what it was, but you could send out 400 postcards and they would pay for it. And so I had a database of like almost 1,000 people, and I did a couple things. I took past clients, past customers, and if they came to my photography studio twice, that means they liked me, so I put them on my database. If you spent over $500, that means you liked what I did, so I put you on my database. And then I worked through, like, I took my church database and put it in my database, they're all my friends, you know. We just left there recently to go to a different church we felt called to this church with a different mission, but we're at our old church for 40 years, so you have 40 years of relationships with people. And then I went through neighborhoods, I thought, well, who do I know that lives in neighborhoods that like me and might want me to sell their house? So I got on the property mapper and I just started clicking on houses and the neighborhoods where I wanted to sell. And, you know, so these people ended up on my database. And I started out with a newsletter to begin with. And then everything was postcards, because I learned that postcards are already open. If you send a letter, people open their mail at the trash can. And yeah, we're all the same. If I have to open it, I'm probably throwing it away. If it's a postcard, I might look at it, flip it over, and now you have 3 seconds of my time. So I would send out, they give us 6 months worth of postcards, and then I'd add to it. So I'd send out maybe 8 or 9 months, 1,000 postcards each time, and just kept adding to that database. And it worked. The other thing I like to do is just be where people are. So, go out to eat, say out to people, go to sporting events, put myself in a place where I'm gonna be bumping elbows with people, rubbing shoulders. And if they know you're in real estate, they're always gonna ask you what's going on, and how's business. So it opens doors that way. What was the question again?
How did you grow?
Oh,
So far it sounds like you put everybody you knew in your database, whether it was past clients from your old
yeah,
career. You searched on Property Mapper, which you can do that now in Bright.
yeah,
So if you pull up Bright, you can look at the map and you can click on the properties and it'll show you who owns that current property. So it sounds like he would click and say, oh yeah, I know Mary Jane, and then puts Mary Jane in his database, and then just started heavily sending out mailers and prospecting to those people.
yeah, and not that what I did was right, but I was not a phone call maker. And I'll be straight up about that. I just didn't want to do it, and then it works. I just didn't want to do it, so I didn't do it. I probably could have had more business if I would have done those steps to create more business. And I never sent out emails. I don't know if I've ever sent out an email for business. Again, that's stupid. I mean, there's the database, but I just didn't do it. My finances, to be right straight up, were not real great for a lot of years. And I just kind of made the assumption that, in this world, there are people who don't have a whole lot. And I thought I might just be one of those people that, throughout my life, I might just struggle financially, because we'd struggled for so long. And so I thought, well, if that's my lot in life, it's okay. What God can use me in that position of being in want. And then things started to change during the COVID shutdown. It was during that time that, we weren't allowed to do business. And I started listening to a lot of sermons, because I went out to my photography studio, which had been empty for 7 years, or full of photography crap, and I got rid of all that. And I had permission to turn it into a rental property. So I like construction, so I got to rip out walls and build and do all that stuff. And during that time, I listened to a lot of sermons, a lot of Tony Evans, and I love Tony Evans. And one of the themes, there were a couple things, when he talked about redemption and how God can redeem different parts of your life. And he even talked about redeeming your finances. And that was the first time I thought, well, that would be interesting, you know, God can redeem my finances. And so. Another one of his sermons was that God is the provider of your provisions. Put your faith in God, don't put your faith in the provisions. And and one of the things he said too was, and God can use any source, God is a source, he can use any other source to help you, to source you, to provide for you. He said, he can even use the devil if he wants to. And I thought, well, that's kind of an interesting concept. Well, then we got PPP money. And I said, God used the devil to provide for us. And I wasn't gonna take it, and, you know, Matt Madden, bless his heart, yeah, I'm talking to Matt, and I was like, that's evil, I'm not gonna take it. I said, Hench, take it. He said, everybody's gonna take it and help people if you want to, just take that money. So we took it. And that was kind of like when things started to change, but then I was just thinking this the other day, and I don't know the timing of it. But this was the strangest thing, but it was cool, it was powerful. I had no idea who the woman was on the other side of the phone, but I had an Amazon package that didn't make it to my house. So I thought, I'm calling Amazon. I'm thinking, you know, you're talking to a live person on Amazon. There's just no way. This lady, I answered the phone, obviously a black lady. We get talking, she finds out I'm a Christian, and we're talking about Jesus. And before I hang up, she says to me, can I pray for you? And I'm like, yeah. She prayed this, it was almost like, I don't know if you've ever read in the Old Testament about Abraham's prayer blessing over people. This woman prayed this blessing over me, and the whole time, and it's a long prayer, and she's praying, and I'm thinking, this is really weird, but it's really cool. I had never had that in my life, and just prayed this prayer of blessing. And I want to tell you, from that point on, our finances changed. And, you know, it was, and being in a position of need in our life, God taught me to be generous also. And so before I didn't have a heart for people who worked, you know, I'd see somebody along the street, whatever, go get a job, work harder, whatever, you know. Now we're going to a church with a lot of homeless people, addicted people, mentally ill people. I could show you a text from Val. Val sent me this thing, he just cussed me up one side and down the other, vulgar language that I could never repeat. And, but these, you know, these are the people who need help. And so God has changed my heart towards needy people, not pick yourself up, but people just need help, you know, and God gave me the help. He changed my heart. I feel a financial obligation that as I make more money, I really need to bless other people. Doesn't mean giving an addicted person money, because, you know, we helped one guy out, he shows up at church next week, he's smoking weed. It's like, all right, we missed that guy, you think you know somebody. But to be able to figure out, to work through and help them, and so as God blesses, I think blesses us as realtors, and some will be blessed more than others. I think we really have an obligation to help other people in need. So, but again, this was a change that God did in my heart by using circumstances in my life that changed how I thought. And today, you know, I haven't sent a mailer out in 2 years. I haven't made a real estate phone call. I have not sent out a postcard. I've done nothing, and my phone rings, and I get emails, and I'll put stuff on Facebook, you know, but it's like, for some reason, I'm in a stage of life where God is saying, here you go, but then be responsible with what I'm giving you. And I also know, because I've been in business, the faucet can be on and the faucet can turn off. And so during a time of blessing, I feel a need to bless others until it's not there anymore. And then we move on to the next stage. So anyway, I don't know if I said too much or not.
I love it. So what I'm hearing him say, and for those of you who maybe aren't Christian in the room, I hope you're not uncomfortable, but we always want everybody to be able to speak freely about their story. But we are open to all forms of beliefs in this room, accepting. Keller Williams, we say faith first, family second, career third. And I think Bill is a really great example of that. And I think, Bill, the reason why you are successful is because you have a genuine care for other people. What I heard you say is the more successful you are, the more important it is for you to give back. And I think that heart is what attracts more people to work with you and why you have repeat customers, because you don't just treat them like a transaction. You treat them as, this is my duty to do a good job for these people, whether they're buying $1 million property or a $30,000 trailer, like you're gonna treat them all with the equal respect. and
Right.
love.
Yeah, and I've said the best training I got to be a realtor was whenever I was an elder at the church and you're serving people and, real estate's tough. And there's so many emotions involved and trying to keep things in check for people and helping them to get through that situation. And so, a lot of what we did as elders was just to help people through difficult situations that they're going through. And that was the best training I've ever had for being a realtor, ever.
Because that's what we do.
That's what we do.
I always hear people say, well, I'm not a salesperson. Great, this is the perfect job for you. Because real estate is not about selling. It is about providing service and educating and being a guide. And sometimes they're gonna buy with you, and then sometimes they're gonna self-discover that they don't need to sell or they don't need to buy, but you got to be a part of that journey and provide that value. They'll sing your praises to everybody else that they know. So I think there's a ton of value in just, if you give to others, it will come back to you. And it doesn't always have to be money, it can be just
Sure.
an education.
Absolutely.
Brenda, I know you're always looking for a book recommendation to go along with what
Oh,
the
yeah.
trainings are saying.
I'm gonna
And
start writing.
as Bill's been speaking, and as you were just pointing out, I can't help but think about the go-getter.
Why was I just thinking about that?
Like totally.
Exactly what I was just thinking
I'm
about.
not a reader, sorry.
No,
Yeah.
you had just spoken.
I think you would love this.
You had just
So I
spoken.
was
Sure, I like
just thinking about that.
I like articles.
I feel like it's a thing.
I loved it. Like it wasn't. I loved it. And that's, you are speaking exactly to the premise, I think, of the go-getter. So.
Yeah, when people say about being a salesperson, if I have to compete to get a listing, I never win. I never win. Ever.
So funny.
I go out there, it's like, we'll get it this time. And then it's like, sorry, pick somebody else. Like, okay. So, yeah, I'm not a salesperson. I've even walked in and said, if you're looking for somebody who's really smooth talking, I said, you might as well send me out the door, because I'm not, it's just not gonna happen. I could probably get better at it. Maybe.
We have a class coming up.
I was just
Mold.
saying, maybe if I can.
You should sign up for mold. You should sign up.
Oh, yeah. Yeah.
So in summary,
Sounds like he built his business on your relationship.
yes,
That's what it.
like once you were able to get it to just here. And then now you're just really focusing on these two.
Yeah.
And that's where the fun begins. So you gotta put in the grind in the beginning. So for the newer agents in the room, you might have to do the things that you don't love to do. But once you get to a certain place in your business, you'll be able to start focusing a lot more here where the fun is. And the one thing that I remember you said was you make phone calls. And it's funny because when I call non-KW agents, just for an invitation to see what KW could do for them, they'll say, well, I don't want to come to KW because you're gonna make me cold call. And that's just not the case. What we're gonna help you do is find the thing that you're gonna do, whether it's mailing postcards, newsletters, is it open houses, like what's the thing that gives you energy? And we're gonna show you the model to do that over and over and over and over and over again, to where eventually you're just focusing on building relationships, serving others at the deepest level, and then the business is coming back to you. And I think that's the market we're entering.
is a highly value-based, relationship-based, trust-based market.
Yeah.
What I liked that he said was, he needs to be where the people are.
Yes.
Going out to eat, going to sporting events, that's your lead gen.
Yeah.
And you, like you said, you're not starting a conversation. They know you, so they start the conversation with, how's the market?
Yeah.
What's going on in the market? And it opens up very organically that opportunity for you to ask them, do they have needs, right? Anything you can do for them. Yeah.
Any other questions or ahas? I love that.
I have one. Well, I went to Hook and Back and they didn't give me 60 cars. That's why you do better. than
No.
I have a one-on-one with Matt today. Would you like me to?
Sorry, Eddie.
The secret's out.
Yeah.
For those of you who may not know, we have some youngins in the room. Hook and Ekman, Madden and Dave Hook owned, right?
Yeah.
Hook and Ekman. And when they purchased this KW that was already existing, they merged the two. So Hook and Ekman became KW. Any reasons why that you could share the room why you've stayed? Because that,
Sure.
you know, because some
That's a good
people would
question.
have left.
Yeah, well, it was weird because when it was Poco Connectment, it was like family. I mean, we had the duty desk where, you know, if you got a call about somebody else's house, you could go show it, sell it. And then we went from that where we're all kind of like helping each other to Keller Williams was you're listing your lead, which then was like, all right, how does this, it took me a year to figure it out, really. How it actually worked. And I would say we were competitors then, which is true. At the same time, you know, there was still a good relationship, but it just took me a year to figure out what the heck was going on. For me, it is about leadership. And so like Dave and Matt, I trust Dave and Matt. Dave and Matt have always been straight up with me, no bull crap. You know, I remember whenever I joined, I don't know if I'm allowed to say, when I joined KW, it was like, we want you to do this, we want you to go here, we want your family reunion, blah, 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 blah. I said, Matt, that's bull crap. I said, it's like a cult, I'm not going. He said, I get it, Hench. You know, so there was, you know, one twist my arm or anything, and then they just let me alone, you know, but it's saying, you know, again, I trust these guys, and then have hired good leadership around them, which brings everybody up also. And so, and I've been amazed at what you're doing with our friend Steve to help him get oriented, and so I got to see you in action, you're good at it. So,
Good old Steve.
good old Steve.
Good old Steve. Yeah, and I appreciate that because, you know, we've got a lot of opportunities here at KW. And honestly, there's no way for you to plug into all of them. Like it would be stressful to go to every single Education Tuesday and every single event and every single training. So what we look at is, well, where are you struggling in your business? You know, if you take us up on one-on-one consults or just self-reflection, where are you struggling? And then what classes make sense? So if your business is down or you're looking to build, like bold, that's gonna be my answer for the next 4 weeks. But if you're doing things really well and what you need to do is just keep your head down and keep consistent, then that's what you do.
Yeah, when we were Hookup Connect, we got really good training because Dave and Matt were aware of everything that Gary Keller does, and Dave was building the team. So we had a source in Dave that the education through what Dave and Matt taught was phenomenal. So the difference is the name has changed. And there are programs put on by lots of people instead of just Dave and Matt. So,
Right. Yeah, you got Dave and Matt at the local level, the rest of your leadership team at the local level. Then you have the regional level, which is where like business planning clinic is coming from. Then you have the national level, which is where Bold comes from, Mega Camp, Family Reunion. So you have lots of opportunity and choice. Where if you're with a boutique brokerage, it's just that. the local level. Nothing wrong with it, but you have to choose what's best for you and where you're gonna grow.
Yeah, yeah, it's, if I didn't like this place, I'd be gone long ago. If I didn't like the leadership.
We miss you. Can I ask you a question?
Sure.
You touched really, really briefly on, you had this photo studio that had all your photo equipment in, and you were just like, okay, I'm gonna clean this out. You decided you were going to create a rental,
Yes.
an investment property of some sort.
Yes,
Can you elaborate a little bit on the process of that and if there's been any additional investments or anything since then?
sure. So I actually did it legally. I was tempted to just.
Congratulations.
Thank you. Tempted
We
just-
condone that here.
Otherwise I wouldn't be talking about it. I actually went to the codes officer and Bruce, I said, come look at my place. I knew he was retiring soon, so I had a relationship with Bruce. I said, Bruce, come look at my place, see if you let me turn it into an apartment, a rental. And it's 800 square feet and it's 10-foot ceiling, so it's really cool. And he walks around, he said, Bill, he said, I retire in 3 weeks, he said, I don't give a damn what you do around here. So that's what he said to me. It's like, yes. So I said, would you give me something in writing? Yeah. So
Okay.
I have the piece of paper. He said, you make it a 1 bedroom, so there's 1 bedroom, the couple living in there now, they made the other one into a bedroom, I don't care what you do with it. And we made it really nice, because in my mind, I'm thinking, that's my retirement place, it's 1 floor, so I'm gonna move over there someday. That's what I tell them, I said, take care of my place. I'm gonna move in here someday, and then I'll rent out the 2-story house and, go from there. I tell my wife, if I die, sell it all, you don't have to deal with that roof again. It's a metal roof, so that's been paying about every 7 years, get out.
One thing, speaking of the wife that Bill does, that he didn't, he kind of mentioned social media, but I think it has to help. You can let me know if it doesn't. But Bill does these hilarious videos and he'll be like, how to fix the leaky garden hose. And then he'll like hand the wrench to his wife and then the video is of his wife fixing it. And it is, like, she is such a good sport.
She is a good.
She has to be.
Those, I mean, those have to help.
You know, yeah, and I haven't done one for a long time.
Those were my favorite.
Yeah, and
We need to
we
get
got,
back to it.
yeah, we got so much response from that and, you know, and then I have people texting me, you know, like, hey, I can't believe you just did that to Melinda, you know? But yeah, she's a good sport and people like humor and, you know, I try to,
Well, especially during COVID. I feel like you ramped up during,
yeah,
and we all needed a good laugh.
yeah, those were, you know, I'm due for one,
Yeah.
yeah. Here's my mind's thinking, what's the next one?
Like fall prep,
Yeah,
you know, like how to prep your house for fall,
yeah,
have her cleaning the gutters.
I like it. Here's some more ideas, I'm putting them down. for Melinda to do. Honeydew.
Poor Melinda.
Honeydew
That's
list.
right.
But they stay top of mind. And that's the point, right? Is the videos are unique, they're different, they're fun, they're engaging. And so when people see those, the next time somebody asks them like, oh, do you know a realtor? I'm thinking about selling my house. They're gonna think of Bill because he's now in front of all the other realtors that they know. Most people can only off the top of their head remember 2 real estate agents. So they may be friends with 10, but if in a quick second, if somebody needed a referral offhand, they're only gonna be able to name 2 right away. So you wanna be one of those 2. And Bill's done a great job at staying in front of it and being one of those 2.
Yeah, and you and I were talking about this other thing. One, we all end up with vendors too that help us. You know, I have an HVAC guy, give Chris all my business, I've given him tens of thousands of dollars. And Ed and I, we've talked about this. But then there are other vendors that we say to them, hey, would you come out and give me an estimate on something? Well, you know darn well, they're not getting any business out of that. We're using them because we need a price we can negotiate. How about, this is where I have a roofer going out right now, we just thought about this, I have a roofer going out right now. And this guy helps me out so much, he doesn't want to climb up on the roof and give an estimate, who does? It's terrible, But I called him up on this one, because this one's kind of emergency, I need it fast. And I called him, I said, hey, listen, I said, I will give you $300 in Amazon gift certificate. I said, if you can get me an estimate early next week. He's like, yeah, I'll do it for you. Okay, he wasn't real excited about it, but he did. So get some of these people and treat them really well. Don't use them. Don't be afraid to pull a little cash out of your pocket. You don't need a receipt for everything, especially as you get more business going, you can afford to do that. But early on in my career, I won't say who it is because we point to who was using me, but I had a friend who said to me, Hench, he said, these guys called me up. He said, I'll spend 3 hours on an estimate. He said, and then all of a sudden I realized they know I'm not gonna get the job. So we can't use people that we need to take care of those people also. So. There, I don't know where that.
No, I
came from.
love that, because your vendor relationships could absolutely feed you business if you treat them right. But if they feel
Yeah,
like they're constantly doing free service for you, they're not gonna recommend, like if somebody says to them as an HVAC person, hey, who do you recommend? I'm sure you come across a lot of agents. The ones that pay them and
Yeah.
get them paid are gonna be the ones that refer.
yeah,
Or,
Yeah.
yeah, they're gonna refer those ones, is what I'm trying to say.
yeah, and. The other thing I sometimes do, because sometimes we're gonna bicker about, little things. I'm not, the seller, I'm not paying for that buyer. Well, I wanna pay for it. There's all this going on. I'd like to stop the bickering early on. If it's like a couple $100, be like, hey, I'm gonna take care of this for you. All of a sudden, it makes Bill Hench look like, wow, what a nice guy he is. I'm just tired of the bickering. Yeah, Ed, what was that groan about? That's kind of rude. More respect there, right? But again, I think pulling a little money out of our pocket to show that we're not greedy SOBs, that we're generous actually with people, I think is a good thing to do personally. And I know a lot of agents won't touch their pocketbook, but it helps down the road. And I know, like, with my vendors, if I send them a picture and I call them, I say, I sent you a picture, I need an estimate. There's a leak, I did this one day, we're doing a walkthrough, there's a leak, so take a picture of it. I send it to him, I call him, I said, Chris, look at your phone, I said, I need an estimate on this right now, because we're going to settlement. And he gave me an estimate right on the spot, so build those relationships, they save your bacon.
Especially like for me, it was like your top, like what are your top needs always in real estate? Like it's roofers, HVAC,
Yeah, plumbers,
plumbers, and then like your home inspectors. Like treat your home inspectors like gold. I had such a great relationship with Alpha. And I think they would do this for any of their clients, but they always made me feel like I was extra special. But if my client didn't understand something on the report, I could call them, and half the time
yes,
it was the evening, right? Like they were already done for the day, but by the time I was able to have a deep conversation with my client about their concerns about the inspection report at 6 o'clock, 7 o'clock in the evening, and I could call Alpha and say, hey, my client can't remember the conversation that you had, because they're there for 3 hours, just getting told all this information. It's overwhelming. So to even remember 3 of the things that they talked about. But Elsa, I think, never had a problem answering the phone because I also was really good to them. So that making sure that your relationships are very win-win will go a long way, especially on those times when it's settlement day. And
Yeah,
something didn't go right during the walkthrough. You don't want it to fall apart at the table, so knowing that you've got people that got your back will make you the rock star, and then those clients will be referring the business.
well, and Britt and I did a transaction in which I forget what was, needed a couple things. And I was impressed with Brittany because she had somebody in her back pocket to give her prices. We were able to negotiate things, and of course, as realtors, you do it whenever you have to. And she still brings that same work ethic. She was helping me out yesterday with some stuff, and I appreciate that. Fire her, I'd quit answering the emails and phone, but she did it, and I appreciated it.
I did it because I knew Bill was on the other end of it, right? Like when you know that your agent is on the other end, that they're the ones affected. You're like, all right, I'll take this call on Labor Day.
I know, I was like, yeah, anyway,
All good.
yeah.
I appreciate it. Any other questions, ahas, thoughts?
Hey, what else you have for questions?
Well, it's easy for me to say, but I don't think I have a better friend than Bill Hench. I call him up and say, Bill, I need you to pray for me. Praise for me. We all need prayer, whether we know it or not. We need friends. We need somebody that you can go to and know you're not being judged. He just prays for you. I think Bill's a man of his word. I've known him since 2013 and 2014 now. And he's a man of his word, always ready to help you. And I'm not trying to butter you up, but you know how I feel about you. I love him as a brother.
There's an offer for a listing to present.
Yeah. Well, that's just the, I think the only thing about Bill, he's gotta get some longer pants. I always tease him about his wardrobe. So I wish I could be comfortable like him running around. Maybe he'll-
He's jealous of my legs.
That's it. But Bill's a man of his word.
I appreciate that. We, our leader, well, some of our leadership team, I don't know if everybody had time to listen to it yet, but John Clyde, he's the VP of for all of KW, but he used to be the regional director for the Greater PA region. And he knows I'm a big Craig Rochelle fan. So he sent me this sermon that Craig did a couple of weeks ago about, you know, the big popular saying that goes around like, you are enough. And everybody's just like, you are enough. What I loved what he said was, is like, you're not. And he's like, you need other people. And, you know, for some of us, we need a higher power. We need to have faith in something bigger than ourselves. But it really made me think about all the people in this room, because I wouldn't be where I am today if it weren't for all the people.
Yeah.
That helped me along the way, and just kind of relates to what Ed says, like, we need relationships.
Yeah,
To get to where we are. It's this business can feel really lonely, and you have a really great opportunity here for it to not be. So,
well, and to that, you know, a couple weeks ago, I heard something, was, you know, the Buffalo charges in the storm. Okay, I like it. However, it's a lot easier charging the storm if I'm following God or following a friend or a bunch of friends, you know. I think it's a nice sounding thing. I'm gonna charge into the storm. Yeah, well, I'm charging the storm, it's beating me up, you know, so take somebody with you. Take somebody with you.
Brittany and I were on a call today. They threw a statistic out at us that said only 4% of the US population comes out of the income bracket that they were born into.
Wow,
Only 4% come
wow.
out of that. And when I heard you talking early in today's training, just sort of about that, like, I'm okay to just be, I'm okay with this level, but then to actually have God bless you, take you through
Yeah,
that
yeah.
and put you on the other side of it. And I think for a lot of us, it is as much of a faith journey as it is, it's also a mindset shift, right? Like,
yeah,
I don't want to be status quo.
Agree and disagree, if I may.
Yeah, of course, of course.
Because as a photographer, you know, I was pushing, I was the most expensive guy, I was doing more business than everybody, and for a long time, I was making a lot of money. But then it just kind of fizzled out, and so, yes, I had the mindset that I'm gonna do this, but sometimes it doesn't work. Sometimes it doesn't, I appreciate it, you can do anything you want,
but
Can't say I
what you
agree with
did
that.
do was you made a pivot.
Maybe, yeah, I knew, yeah, it took an extreme circumstance to make me realize, oh crap, this isn't working.
Yeah, and so what I would say to everybody in this room is don't let an extreme circumstance be the thing. Don't have to get it to be to the point where you're about broke or you are broke and you're in debt to make big changes, like get ahead of that change. Which is why we were pushing so hard, like with the NAR form changes, like we wanted you to be ahead of it as much as possible. Because come game day, we didn't want you panicking.
Right.
So what can you do to be ahead of the shift? And when you see a shift happening, what can you do to put systems and models in place? So that way you can grow, because if you just think the same thing is gonna work, like it's just not. And And that's why we have like bold at the end of the year is always because this is a really easy time to start to fall back into what's comfortable instead of what's necessary.
Yeah, I'd like to finish with, this is a great business to be in. I love what I do. It's a hard business. There's no lie about that. You're in a great company to grow. And so you take advantage of what's being offered so that you can become the best version of you as a realtor. And then just keep pushing through and surround yourself with people who want to do what you want to do. And there's a lot of money to be made, a lot of people that can be helped to buy a house and also to help financially with what you have earned along the way.
I love that. Everybody give Bill a round of applause.
Thanks, everybody.
That's all we got for you folks. Feel free to take pictures of the board. I did write another book recommendation that just came to mind as we were
Brittany
chatting.
don't have us reading all day and night.
I'm saying my list is so long right now.
You're like an overachiever with your books, I can't.
So I looked at my Goodreads today, I'm at